And she just kept pushing me until I finally started crying. And then she was like, look at me, Chloe. Look into my eyes. You are incredibly immature. You are burning this bridge. You say that this job isn't for you because you're a coward. Yeah, I think I should leave. It is couch time with Chloe. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Chloe Shih, and I am a product lead at Discord. Previously was at TikTok, Facebook Meta, Google. I studied IOR at Columbia and management engineering at the Claremont colleges. Today we are doing a brutally honest career Q&A inspired by Sarah Pan, who is a Google software engineer. She recently did this on her channel, and I thought the format was so intimate. Loved it. Shout out to her. So I posted on my Instagram and LinkedIn what career questions y'all have for me, because I know that on the internet, we always showcase the best parts of our lives, especially in career. It's always the highlights, the milestones, everything. And I've done a fair share of my own LinkedIn stalking and felt really depressed about my own journey. But now that I'm on the other side, it is still not a walk in the park. This shit's hard, and I'm here to talk about it. And to commemorate Women's History Month, I wanted to sit down and share with you my unfiltered stories of what my journey was like being an Asian American woman in tech and other factors that might have held me back. When I posted this on my socials, I thought I was gonna get some like basic career questions like how much do you make and how did you get this job? So I'm very surprised because I got a lot of hard-hitting questions, and so let's just dive right into them. The first question is, do you ever doubt your career path or role? This is gonna be a big topic. Well, if you ever looked at my career trajectory, you know that it is actually a hot mess. Like, I was all over the place. I started out doing pre-med, I switched over to engineering, but I thought that my strengths were in people, so I applied for a people operations job at Google. It turned out that it was like the most bottom rung job that you could get. I had so many engineers disrespecting me, and then I left to do business development, and that was the best and worst experiences I've ever had. I will get to it, but I got majorly harassed by my managers. And then I switched to product development, and that wasn't even product management, and that was like a whole other thing, and now I am finally in product management. So the time that I felt the most confused about my career was like when I didn't want to be in partnerships anymore. And I remember the very moment that I finally told my manager this. It was after an axe throwing team bonding, and I wanted to leave slightly early, not even like super early, but slightly. I said, hey, I'm gonna head out, and she's like, what? Whoa, where are you going? I said, I'm gonna go home. I need to rest. I have something else to do. She's like, well, I'm still here. You can't go. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, well, okay, fine. Let me walk you out. We walk out. I'm holding all my stuff. It is freezing cold and it's super foggy. And I'm outside of my car. And she's like, what's going on? I know something's going on. Tell me. Talk to me. And I said, I'm just not ready to talk about anything. I'm just really tired. I kid you not. It was 30 minutes of back and forth of me saying, I'm not ready to talk about things. And she just kept pushing me until I finally started crying. And I was like looking down at the floor, shaking. And then she was like, look at me, Chloe. Look into my eyes. And I was just like, and I got all my courage to look at her. I finally said that partnerships isn't for me. If success looks like these guys who are, really out there, I can't be that person. I just would rather stay more internal to the company. And I was like, maybe I should go back to my roots. Maybe I should do data. And then she looked at me and she said, no, Chloe, you're being a coward right now and you're trying to run away from your problems. And I just could not process that much confusion in my career. So yeah, it was really hard to figure out my career path until now. I feel like that was a really long answer. Next question. How do you get yourself heard in a male-dominated tech industry? This one's hard. I really feel this one because I remember working on a team of 10 dudes who were 5 to 20 years my senior. And the way that we worked our meetings was we went with whoever was the last loudest voice. So people were literally yelling and shouting on top of each other, and it was terrifying for me. So terrifying that my manager, she gave me a bell to ring in the meeting should I ever have something to say. And I was so humiliated that the company put me on assertiveness training so that I can speak up. Honestly, I don't think there is one easy solution to this. I did a lot of things. I read a bunch of self-help leadership books, which I will list here in this space. Reading these helped me build my framework of thinking through problems. It helped me to have the vocabulary to put in my arsenal of words to use when I am in those situations. And it just helped me spot patterns in the workplace too. I think if I had to answer, it would be number 1, building rapport with the team, and number 2, calling people out when you know that they're BSing you. I think something that I'm saying more when people aren't being very clear is I just say, what do you mean by that? Can you clarify? And if someone mansplains to me, I think I try my best to cut them short and I just like, no, I get that. That's it. They just like try to get to the point of the question. But then for the people who really just love hearing themselves talk, I don't know. I smile, I move on, and I hope I never talk to them again. Like I heard a story of a woman CTO who was asked what was the hardest part about work, and she said it was coming into work and having to put on a suit of armor every single day. It just feels like you're going to a battlefield and it's exhausting. I don't think I'm making working in tech sound very fun for the ladies, but I assure you there are very good teams out there and you just need to find the right one for you. If you're looking for a new job soon or you're looking to hire people, I think you are going to like today's sponsor, HireRect, the first chat-based app where you can actually slide into the DMs of CEOs, founders, and hiring managers so you don't have to get ghosted. For my first job ever, I remember submitting 250 applications just to get the one. And that was such a big waste of time because I only got like 3 callbacks. I really wish HireRect was around during my time because all you gotta do is fill out your profile one time and then you get matched with dozens of legit verified companies that match your criteria. Whether it's remote only or based on a salary range, because they make companies post their salaries publicly for transparency, and I love that. HireRect uses AI technology to bring the right opportunities right to your fingertips. They ran some stats and HireRect has actually reduced the job search process from an average of 3 weeks to 3 days. Imagine that. No more anxiety being in between jobs for too long. So if you're in the job search or you're trying to hire or you're just a dope community member, use my unique link down below to download the app and use HireRect for free. It's free for all users. Thank you to HireRect for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the spicy questions. Okay, third question. What's the most painful moment in your career and how did you overcome it? This one's a core memory, and it is actually a very long story. When I was working at the startup, I was the highest performer by a landslide. My projects alone single-handedly contributed to like 30 to 40% of the top line metrics. After 2 years of working there, being the most tenured person and the person with the highest impact, I lost promotion to a white guy who joined 6 months ago, whose impact was less than 1% of our metrics. All because the VP favored him because they like sports. I don't know. And I actually alluded a little bit to this in one of my TikToks. My manager told me that she would not promote me because I was just about to go to a 1-month-long vacation that I had saved up in the last 2 years, not having taken any days off. After I lost promotion and right before I was gonna go to my vacation, she and the VP of BD and the VP of People told me I couldn't go anymore because I was mission critical to this brand new strategy that I needed to stay. And that was a whole other battle. Eventually, I cried to the CEO and he was like, yeah, you should definitely go get some headspace and come back. I ended up taking 2 weeks off, and when I came back from Taiwan, it became clear that I really wanted to go into product. When I finally went to my manager to talk about it, she was like, so what did the VP of People say? And I said, well, there's no headcount right now, but in the meantime, we wait until something to open up. Overall, people are very supportive. She was like, but what are you gonna do when there's no headcount? And I said, I'd work on this team. And she was like, no, you're not. I don't want to be working with someone who's trying to leave this current team right now. That is so unprofessional. You are incredibly immature. You are burning this bridge. I cannot believe you would do something like this. And you know what, Chloe? You say that this job isn't for you because you're a coward. You only want to do things if you know you're going to succeed, and that's the type of person you are. I just said a lot of other things too. I apologized profusely. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to come off this way. My intentions are to make this work out for both teams and to help grow the company. And I know this is a hard transition where things are up in the air, but what would you like me to focus on during this time? And she's like, wait a minute. Are you telling me to tell you what to do because you don't know what to do? And then she hung up on me. And I'm glad that that conversation happened because it helped me move on. I decided that, yeah, I think I should leave. That was so unhealthy. So then after 3 months, I left. And I never want to go through something like that ever again. And I'm still recovering from that to this day. Whew. That was a lot. I am tired. We still have so much more. Okay, number 4. Hello, Mayuko. What's the best way that coworkers, allies, and leaders can show up for you right now? One time, my team was doing a bunch of marketing deals with game developers and publishers, and I was the one to get my first 2 agreements signed and done. And I remember at the beginning of this meeting where, you know, there's like always that 5 minutes of awkward, hey, let's talk about anything. And someone asked me, Chloe, how did you get your first 2 deals done? I couldn't even get any movement on mine. And I was about to answer this But someone else chimed in and was like, oh, I know how she got her deals done. I don't know if anyone noticed, but she's a young, attractive lady working in the games industry. And I'm sure who can say no to that? Am I right, guys? And it was like silent for 10 seconds. I was so shocked because I was so young. I didn't know what to say. And then finally someone was like, dude, that was so weird. And they broke the silence. I felt really supported by that other coworker who chimed in. Even though it wasn't an ideal situation, I think everyone was just kind of shocked. Another situation was actually happened pretty recently. I was talking during a meeting and this guy just like cuts in and says a whole bunch of stuff. And after his spiel, some other guy came in and was like, oh, Chloe, you were in the middle of saying something. And of course that calls the guy who cut me off out, and then it brings me into the picture. And I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. So I think as a teammate and as an ally, you can really have the power to call someone out when someone is exhibiting very non-inclusive behavior. Another thing is give credit where credit is due and don't assume you know who the credit belongs to until you verify that yourself. For example, I recently had a colleague give me feedback saying that I don't give enough product insights. And he gave me an example. He said that there are these two other guys who came up with this user insight where users started doing X thing. And I was like, oh, actually, that's not true because I was the one who told those guys that users are doing X thing in my observations when I was doing user research. So I'm not sure where you're getting this idea that I am not doing my part. Moments like that are really confusing because I don't know why I have to spend extra effort to convince people that I did the work that I did. And lastly, as a leader or a manager or a confidant, if someone from an underrepresented background comes up to you and shares a struggle and a challenge and is not able to do so in the most clear way, just listen, empathize, try to ask clarifying questions, validate the feelings and the pain because those are very real. And just know that she probably has been dealing with this problem by herself for a long time and finally found the courage to speak up and ask for help. While she may not be in her best form, she shouldn't be judged by her worst. Only look down on her if you're trying to pick her up. And when she finally does have the courage to ask, foster that psychological safety to let her ask in the imperfect way that she may. And also, everyone can just take unconscious bias training. I think that's easy. And that is a wrap. I received a lot of other great questions that I couldn't cover because I really wanted to go into depth with these 4 questions today. I don't want these things to get pushed under the rug for no one to hear because they are real stories that happen over and over again for many people. I know this probably spawns more thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts, your experiences, your other questions that you want me to tackle in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the Uniqlos who have always been supporting me. I will see you next time.